turn on the Bluetooth and briefly open.
We're rolling. Thank you for your extra time. I think that people are starting to come into the hall, and welcome. We are going to start the third section of the GIST Catalyst, or Global Innovation Through Science and Technology Initiative, pitch competition here at the GES. We will be focusing today on the health and life sciences. If you had joined us yesterday, we have done the energy and infrastructure, as well as the fintech and digital economy sections. The format for today will have 6 pitchers providing their insights on their startups in 3-minute presentations, followed by 5 minutes of Q&A exclusively from our fantastic panel of judges. We are blessed here to have a very respectable amount of expertise, including Loretta McCarthy from Golden Seeds, Ramesh from Indaya Partners, Tiffany Wilson from the Global Center for Medical Innovation, and Vita from IPK Knowledge Park here in India, as well as Bouquet Churahar, who I pronounced correctly today, thank goodness, who is the VP for Operations with Global Entrepreneurship Network. I'd like to give everyone here a round of applause before we start, and we'll be kicking things off. And we're lucky enough to start with Cesar Garcia of Vasatech.
Good morning. It's a pleasure to be here. This is my first pitch competition, and I'm glad to be able to do it here. I was really looking forward to this because I knew how distinguished the panels were going to be. The GIST has been putting on a great show for us. I'd like to tell you a little bit about a world health problem that 100 years ago killed about 5% of the world population, and this in a non-global world. What we had is a viral disease that became an epidemic. And unfortunately, we ended up losing a lot of people. A lot of people died simply because of this viral disease. Fast forward 100 years later, and current technology has still not been able to solve this problem. Vaccitech has patent-pending technology that seeks to address these problems. Every single year, the World Health Organization begins a dance, and they start identifying a viral influenza viruses that may be the ones that will be circulating, and that's what they start doing. That's what they start using to be able to develop the vaccine. Well, the big problem here is that it takes 6 to 8 months to manufacture this vaccine. And since the influenza virus continues to mutate, we run the risk of this virus mutating to the point where the vaccine that's being developed can either be weak or, in the worst case, ineffective. So what we need to do is we need to find novel, new techniques to be able to manufacture vaccines much faster. Our technology uses molecular engineering techniques to isolate the specific part of the virus that elicits an immune response in the human body. In short, what we've been able to do with our platform technology is to make the influenza vaccine 16 times faster and 100 times cheaper than current egg-based technology. 2 weeks instead of 6 months. Pennies instead of dollars. Being able to produce our vaccines much more rapidly gives us the opportunity to be able to address pandemics faster, create vaccines, and get them into the hands of the World Health Organizations that are tasked with making sure that our populations are safe. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Forgive me, I'm a little hard of hearing, so I need to.
No problem.
Thank you.
A little bit about yourself and your team.
My name is Cesar Garcia. I'm a serial entrepreneur. Don't have any background in science, but I know a good idea when I see it. Dr. Luis Manuel Rodriguez, who is right behind you, if you have any technical questions, we'll be able to help you. He's a PhD out of the Monterrey Institute of Technology in Mexico. Our company is a US-based company. We're a Wyoming corporation with our laboratories in Mexico to take advantage of the US know-how and Mexican labor.
At what stage is your technology? Have you?
We're
Is there a
preclinical
proof
at the
of
moment.
concept?
We're preclinical.
Could you speak a bit about the cost of your vaccines relative to what is currently used?
Well, we know that we've looked at the cost of trying to remember forgive me, I'm drawing a blank here. But Dr. Rodriguez, thank you. The CDC puts out a list of the prices of their vaccines, and the average price there was about $7 for the cost of the vaccine. We're down to pennies.
Great.
Simply because of the techniques that we use. We use a yeast, a specific yeast, to manufacture a vaccine.
Thank you.
Can you talk a little bit about some of the regulatory hurdles?
For us right now, the biggest regulatory hurdle is going to be FDA. And what we're looking for is a strategic partner that will be able to take a look at our technology and help us through those FDA hurdles. We know that other countries, it's easier to get regulations in other countries, but the standard is FDA. So everything that we do is based on FDA trials.
Do you anticipate any challenges with some of the novel vaccine delivery systems?
We haven't explored that yet. I think what we're trying to do right now is make sure that we get our technology finished to the point where we can start looking at the delivery systems. We understand that there are a lot of patches that are coming about. We're actually talking to a couple of folks in Australia that have some novel delivery systems, and they want to see how we can work with them.
Have you filed any IP as yet?
We are patent pending. Our patent attorneys are Wilson Sonsini, Goodrich, and Rosati.
Which market do you plan to enter first?
Well, right now we have a multi-pronged approach. We're talking to a lot of people. We have interest right now. Dr. Rodriguez was in China a few months ago, and based on the presentation that he did, Sinopharm has shown some interest in what we're doing. Early on, to see if we were on the right track, we spoke with Sanofi Pasteur, shared with them some of our results, and they were very interested in us. The thing that they told us is they want us to get past animal trials in ferrets to be able to make sure that our technology does work. We had a previous version of our technology that worked very well, and we had limited animal trials in mice, but it wasn't highly scalable. So Dr. Rodriguez went back to the drawing board, reconfigured things, and we were very surprised at our new technology. Not only was it highly scalable, but it was even more robust than what we had previously. Yes.
It seems like such an obvious problem to solve for the reasons you stated earlier. Do you know if you have competition that are trying to solve the same problem?
There are other companies that are working on this because this is a global health problem. When you're talking about in the United States, we have 25 to 50,000 people that die every year, and this is one of the developed countries, what happens in other countries? So there are a lot of companies that are working in this space, but they're looking at universal flu vaccines, which are much more difficult, much more expensive, and you end up leaving a majority of the world out. Our idea is to democratize the process to be able to get our technology and our vaccines into the rest of the world. We figured that based on the size of our bioreactors, in about 30,000 square feet, we can create enough vaccine to inoculate every single person in Mexico.
All right. Thank you, judges, and thank you, Cesar.
Thank you.
All right, let's welcome to the stage Fiona Edwards-Murphy, newly Dr. Fiona Edwards-Murphy of Aspis Protect.
Imagine walking into a supermarket and realizing that there weren't any apples. There were no blueberries, no almonds. 1/3 of the food we eat every day relies on having access to healthy honeybees. But there's a problem. Honeybees are not healthy. There are a variety of diseases, pests, and hive problems that are spreading faster and hitting harder than they ever have before in history. And now it's common in many parts of the world for beekeepers to lose up to half of their honeybees every single year. This isn't just a problem for the €3 billion international honey market, but also for the global agri-food industry, because honeybees provide an estimated €153 billion worth of pollination to the global food supply every year. What this means for us is that as wild pollinators continue to disappear, we're going to need more beekeepers with more bees to help secure our food supply. My name is Fiona Edwards-Murphy. I'm the CEO and co-founder of Apis Protect. And I've spent the last 4 years working on my PhD in the area of Internet of Things applications for honeybee health. I have 8 publications on the topic, and I'm a recognized thought leader on the topic of honeybee monitoring. Following my research, I realized that technology can help beekeepers scale up their honey production. And that's where Apis Protect was born. Apis is the Latin word for bee, so our name literally means we protect the bees. And how we do that is using our unique Internet of Things platform. We embed sensors inside the beehive and collect a variety of data about the colony. We apply big data and machine learning techniques to extract valuable information about the hive. And then we provide beekeepers with actionable insights as part of a subscription model. Our value proposition to those beekeepers is that we provide a plug-and-play solution that instantly provides them with the information they need to reduce losses and increase productivity in their hives. I've built a 3-people full-time team in Apis Protect with decades of commercial, engineering, scientific, and beekeeping experience. And we've spent the last 12 months validating the need for a product like ours around the world. We've developed version 2 of our platform, which will be rolling out to 200 beehives as part of a commercial trial starting in December of this year. And we've started raising our seed round of €500,000, which will give us 12 months of runway to reach our Series A round. Over the next 5 years, we plan to bring the Apis Protect solution to 100,000 hives. That represents just 0.22% of our addressable market of Europe, the Americas, and Oceania. That will give us recurring revenues of over €10 million. And following this, once we've reached scale in our data, we plan to explore a data sales product around the valuable environmental, agricultural, and scientific data that we are also collecting from those beehives. Apis Protect is using a groundbreaking technology to help our most important little friends stay healthy and continue providing us with food for generations to come. Thank you.
Thank you, Fiona. Questions?
Thank you for this education about bee colonies. And my question is, what is the cost of one installation, and are you able to quantify the results that may have for the productivity of that?
Yes. So the cost to us is, right now, because we're on a low run, it's over €100. But once we get to a high scale run, because it's a hardware product, we're getting that down below €70 per hive. And the subscription model is initially in year 1, it will be a €70 subscription for data and €60 hardware cost, and then a recurring annual subscription of €70 per hive. And what that means for the beekeeper is that they can prevent the loss of a hive. So we detect a variety of problems such as swarming, queen problems, diseases and pests. And if a beekeeper fails to detect any of those problems, they can lose their colony. So that will be an outright cost for them of €200 to replace the colony. And also they'll lose the production from that beehive. So depending on the market that they operate in, so if they're in a high value honey market or if they're in the pollination industry, say in the United States, that can cost them up to thousands of euro for that year.
Thank you.
Who else is working on this type of solution, and what are the biggest hurdles that you see in terms of commercial adoption?
The biggest hurdles. I think it probably is primarily around education for the beekeepers, because beekeeping is kind of a very traditional practice around the world, and beekeepers generally don't use technology in their practice. So what we've really done is started to embark on an educating the beekeepers on how sensors can help them, and also making our product incredibly uninvasive to the beekeeping process. So it's completely plug and play. The beekeeper doesn't need to know anything about technology. We're using very ubiquitous networks. We're using 2G at the moment, so they don't need to worry about if they have an antenna nearby them or what kind of, they don't need to understand any of that. So that's really how we're approaching that problem.
If you didn't do this, how adversely will the beekeeping industry be affected in the next 5 years?
In the next 5 years? I mean, like the problems that beekeepers are facing are massive. So at the moment, the size of the colonies, the number of colonies are only growing in Asia.
So you could give some numbers?
Yeah, there are 91 million beehives around the world. There are about half in Asia and Africa, and half in our target markets of Europe, the Americas, and Oceania. And the problem is that there should actually be way more in those three markets, because that's where beekeeping has been practiced for a very long time. But over the last 30 years, the volume of hives in all of those markets has completely stagnated because of the problems I was describing earlier. And what we need, as the human population continues to grow, we need the beehive population to also grow, because the number of colonies we have is directly proportional to the amount of food we can produce. So we need those numbers to continue rising as the human population rises around the world, and that's what we're really helping to secure.
Could you tell us a little bit about your competition? I think you were asking a similar question earlier.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, sure. So there are a variety of other people trying to enter the market with also sensor technology in beehives. But where we really have an advantage is that we're based on scientific research, which a lot of the competitors aren't. We're approaching it with our subscription-based price model, whereas the competition is approaching it with a upfront hardware cost of €400 to €600, which obviously doesn't make sense compared to the cost of a colony, which is €200. And the other advantage that we really have is that completely ubiquitous way that we're approaching the technology. We're not providing the beekeeper with streams of data about the humidity and carbon dioxide levels inside their hive, which the competitors are doing. We're actually providing them with information in the form of sentences, text alerts, email alerts with, this is the problem that your hive is experiencing, this is what you can do to help it. So they don't need to learn about what humidity means for a beehive, which most beekeepers don't know or care about. They get information that they can act on instantaneously.
Thank you, Fiona.
Is this technology very specific for bee colonies or any adjacent areas you have?
Yeah, do you mind if I answer? Okay, I'm sorry. I can talk
Thank
after
you, Ramesh. We're
about
going to
that.
have to transition. Thank you, Fiona.
Thank you.
All right, we're welcome to the stage Raj Lakshmi, Doctor of Terra Blue Exploration Technologies.
Good morning, everybody, and namaskar. My name is Rajlakshmi Borthakur, and I am the CEO and founder of Terra Blue XT. When it comes to saving a life, timing is the most crucial factor. When it comes to living a healthy life, prevention is better than cure, and that is something we all know. And that is why at Terra Blue XT, we are creating futuristic technologies to make human life safer and preserve a life at all costs. We are building wearable technologies that sense medically relevant information from human bodies. Our IoT system will enable healthcare professionals and governments to provide healthcare support to people in the remotest parts of the world. Our artificial intelligence platform allows doctors to understand the evolution of a disease, understand the efficacy of medicine, and provide intervention before it is too late. My son Tejas, who is 6.5 years old now, had epilepsy since birth. It was so bad that he had to be hospitalized every time he had an attack. If we did not hospitalize him in time, it would be life-threatening for him. I was desperate and I wanted a solution. I couldn't find any, and I ended up creating a solution on my own. There are 50 million people with epilepsy in the world. 10 million of them live in India and 4.3 million of them in the United States. 70% of these people with epilepsy live in developing countries, and 1.5 million deaths in 2015 are attributed to causes related to epilepsy. But do you know the most interesting thing? It is that 70% of these people with this population of epilepsy can live near normal lives if they get the treatment on time and they are diagnosed on time. And this is one of the areas that TerraBlue XT is working on. Apart from epilepsy, we are also working in other areas of neurology, cardiology, and lifestyle-related diseases and disorders. The promise of our solution has encouraged foreign governments and organizations like the government of Australia and the government of Belgium to invite us in their countries to start our operations there. My child is a special child. He's not like you and me, and that has impacted me very badly. To all my capabilities, whatever it is possible, I will make sure, it will be my life's mission to make sure nobody goes through the trauma that he did. It is the mission of TerraBlue Technology to create life-saving devices and systems and make it accessible to people all over the world. Thank you very much.
Can you tell us the scientific data you have on epilepsy, especially with your device?
Sure. So,
how accurate is the prediction?
Sure. So the accuracy right now stands at 98.99%. Our clinical trial partners in India is National Institute of Mental Health and Neurosciences. It's a premier institute of neuroscience in Asia. We are also collaborating with Royal Melbourne Hospital and Flores Institute of Brain Science. We are also going to start our trials in AIMS in New Delhi and also UCL in Belgium.
Just want to clarify, with epilepsy, for instance, what is being measured? The likelihood of having an episode or something else?
Yeah, so we measure the likelihood of having the episode and provide a prediction. It is not possible to provide predictions to everyone, but there are like about 70 to 80% of the people, it is possible to provide them a prediction so that emergency care could be given to them and the attack aborted. And the more we keep aborting the attacks, the better is their quality of life.
Are there any, excuse me, interoperability challenges, particularly in India? And interaction with EMRs?
No, so we are making a very open system so that we can connect with APIs. Whoever gives us the APIs will be able to connect it. That's the way, it's a very fluid system that we have designed, and it's mostly Python based. And we have thought about the fact that, you know, organizations and hospitals around the world uses different kinds of systems. So we are, as far as possible, we have trying to keep it very fluid. We are also trying to be HIPAA compliant, though in India it is not required to be, but we are trying to do that.
Could you tell us a little bit about your team?
Sure. So I am the founder, and I am supported by a team of about 27 people. And we have about 7 doctors who work as advisors with us, and they're the top neurologists in the country. We also have cardiologists, sleep specialists, and psychologists. So we have a total team of about 12 doctors. The person who looks after our hardware engineering was the ex-CEO of Maxim Integrated. It's a billion-dollar chip manufacturing company. And apart from that, we have like several people who advise us. And in terms of my own team, we have a team of data scientists. We have hardware engineers, software engineers, a big data team, and a research and marketing team.
How old is your company?
Ma'am, it is 1.5 years old.
And did you say you have revenue?
Pardon?
Do you currently have revenue?
We don't have revenue, ma'am, but we do have a lot of traction. As in very recently, we have, we are on the verge of signing agreements with several organizations. So we are looking at revenue, hitting revenue by March or April of this year.
We have time for one more question.
But you've not completed your trials as yet. You said
We
you're
are doing our,
doing
it's going
Nimrans
on.
and-
Yeah.
So
they're-
till you complete and you get the approvals, you won't be able to launch the
Yeah,
product.
so ma'am, this is for the epilepsy device. We have completed trial for our mental health device. We are also working in the area of mental health.
Okay.
And the trial is completed and it is ready to hit the market. So March, April is when we are thinking of putting it in the market. And we are now waiting for compliance. We have submitted the documentation, so we are hoping it will come by that time. Yeah,
Thank you, Raji.
thank you.
Thank you.
All right, we'll welcome to the stage Christy Gornis of Defendables.
I grew up in a small town. One weekend during my freshman year in college, I returned home for a visit and ran into Kevin, an old friend. We decided to go for a car ride together. We were having a conversation driving down the road when suddenly he stopped the car and sexually assaulted me. I was unable to fight off my attacker. Afterwards, I wanted to jump out of the car, but he took off driving again. His tone got angrier as he spoke, while he held a shotgun in his lap. The car sped up to over 100 miles per hour on that pitch black road. At that point, my only goal was to make it home alive. Hello, my name is Christy Gornis, and as a survivor of that attack, I know firsthand the importance of being able to defend myself. Now, as a mother to 5 girls, I refuse to ever let that happen to one of them. The United Nations has declared violence against women a global pandemic, stating that 7 out of 10 women will become victims. That's 2.6 billion women worldwide who will experience physical violence and sexual assault in their lifetime. For all of those reasons, I invented Defendables. Defendables is your wearable self-defense. This small pod is filled with the strongest form of pepper spray that will stop an attacker, giving you those precious moments to get away. Defendables is worn discreetly anywhere on your body. I'm actually wearing 3 right now. But my favorite Defendables is the Spider-Man inspired D-Ring. You just point and spray. Defendables will also include technology, a GPS locating and emergency notification system. But technology will not fight off your attacker. You must first use the pepper spray for self-protection. Last year, I licensed Defendables to Sabre Red, the world's leader in pepper spray and personal safety products. With their distribution channels, we will have automatic placement in over 30,000 retailers in 60 countries. They also provide free pepper spray for emerging economies. With this licensing business model, we will greatly save on overhead and spend our time on expanding our product line and also co-branding with large companies like Nike. Defendables is your simple solution to personal safety. You can be your own hero. Thank you very much.
What is the price, and are they refillable?
That they are not refillable. Pepper spray is a very controlled substance. It's very difficult for us to fill in this small of a pod. The pod will sell for less than $10. I'm hoping to get it around $5 or $6, but don't quote me on that. The accessories that the pod will clip into, a clip, the ring. I also have a version that is integrated directly into your clothing, hence the ability to co-brand with a fabric company, Spanx, clip it on your bra, wherever it might be. So then the price will increase $15 or more. And the housing unit for the GPS and emergency notification, because it's not based on Bluetooth like all of the other wearable safety devices, it will be a little bit more expensive. The clip or the housing unit will probably run $50, and we're working on the battery for that. It could last a year or 2, it just depends.
Do you have any intellectual property?
Yes, we have several patents not only on the pod but also on our accessories.
Could you tell us a little bit about the team?
The team. Yes, I've been an inventor for about 10 years. I started inventing products for my children. I have juvenile products, several on the market that are patented. I consult out most of my team. I have 2 sets of engineers. I hire my IP. I've got a CFO that is working pro bono. I've got a project manager that I haven't paid in 2 years. I bootstrap all of my products, so I've got to partner with people that really believe in the product and will help me for a low cost or practically nothing. So I've taken products from concept to market successfully myself. I know how it works. I know how expensive it is and how to take it to the retailers and brand and market them as well.
Could you just say a little bit more about the notification system? How does that work?
Sure. The pod will clip into an accessory that will have a SIM-based, radio frequency-based, like your cell phone has a SIM card. So we'll have a SIM card in the unit. We'll have a button that if you are in an emergency type situation, then you would push that button. It would notify through the satellite system, so you don't have to rely on a phone. Most often you drop your phone or you might not have it with you when you're attacked. So did that answer the question?
Yes, thank you. Good.
In that case, you need a call center.
Yes, I already have partnered with a company that has this type of product on the market. We've talked about the expense as well as how to integrate it with the pod. So we will not be developing that platform on our own. We will work with another company that already does it. Right. Thank you for the opportunity.
Thank you, Christy. All right, now we welcome to the stage Mai Nu of CLIS Healthcare.
Hi everyone, my name is Mai. I'm the founder and CEO of CLIS Healthcare. Today I would like to talk about the patient information exchange solution. As you know that nowadays, the healthcare information is distributed in different places, like the hospital information system, like the insurance system, like the personal medical devices. With our solution, we will have to collect the data from different places. And after that, we use the data analytics and machine learning to turn it into the insight and foresight for disease and population health management. Our solution consists of online appointment system, HIPAA compliant patient HIPAA compliant patient health patient HIPAA compliant patient patent pending electronic medical record and HIPAA compliant patient health record. Our solution can get the data from many places, and we can integrate with the existing system. We don't replace the existing system, but we integrate with it. Our solution, and today in Vietnam, we have 1,039 public hospitals, 169 private hospitals, and more than 3,000 private clinics that could become our customer. And the market potential is more than 14 million US dollars per year. And today we have three kinds of pricing models. It can be the subscription, or package, or pay-per-use. And we have a very strong team with 5 members who have many experience on the role they play in the company. And in addition, we also have 3 doctors who advise for our solution. And now we are looking for 500,000 US dollars to expand our solution in Vietnam and in Asia Pacific in next 18 months. We have a good solution, we have a strong team, and we have the good connection with Microsoft that can help us to go to the market, and we believe that we can succeed. Please help us to make our dream come true. Thank you for listening.
Questions?
Is the pain point large enough, or are there some adjacent areas where you can increase your revenue potential?
Yeah. The pain point is now the healthcare information is distributed in many places. So we build up a solution that can collect the data in many places. And then after that, we use machine learning to make it into the insights and foresight for disease and population health management. Yeah.
Do the pain points expand? Are they unique to the healthcare system in Vietnam, or do they expand globally?
Actually, we would like to expand globally. Now we would like to expand in Vietnamese to have the proven solution first, and after that we expand to the Southeast Asia and another country. Yeah.
Could you please speak about your own background, how you came about this?
Actually, my background actually I graduated from the University of Economics on the bank financial, but I work for the software management software project director for more than 8 years, and after that we built up our solution with the healthcare. Yeah. Thank you.
What is the uniqueness of this solution? Because there are so many similar solutions that exist.
No, the difference is our solutions. We collect the data. Yeah, we collect the data from many places and put it into one place, and we use the predicted tool to pick up the useful information and to support to manage the health. Yeah.
What kind of data you collect and what kind of insights you give to the hospital management?
Actually, we just collect the patient information. It means that that is the property of the patient. We cannot collect for example, for electronic medical records is the hospital property, so we cannot collect it. Yeah. Yeah.
Any other questions? All right, join me in thanking Mai.
Yeah, thank you.
All right, and our final presenter today is Satyan Sangahari of Regrow.
Hi, good morning. Satyen Sangvi, Chief Scientific Officer at Regrow. Today we all know healthcare has three main delivery systems. One is the immunization, which is through vaccinations for preventing it. Second is the illness, which is mainly driven by generic medication for managing it. And third is the injury, which is mainly by replacement for fixing it. However, there is no curative approach available here. So over the last 8 years, we developed a solution called cells replacing pills. And it has three unique advantages for patients at large. One, it's permanent. Second, it's easy because it's minimally invasive. And third, it's natural, so no biocompatibility issues. So how it works is basically, there are two models of cell-based delivery systems. One is autologous, meaning one's own cells, which are taken, extracted from the body, cultured, and reimplanted back at the damaged area. And that is for individual use. And second is the allogenic model, which is donor-derived and used for multiple individuals multiple times. So two of our products from the autologous model have successfully completed phase 3 randomized clinical trials and been tested over 600 patients in early osteoarthritis of the knee and hip. They also have been approved by Indian FDA and Ministry of Health, and that marks an entry of India's official entry into cell therapeutics as well. So looking at the market, as per the national registry data, there are approximately 1 million patients in the US and 0.2 million in India undergoing annual knee and hip replacements. That's a total market of $6 billion, dominated by only 4 major players. But the interesting thing is 40% of these patients don't have even half their joint damaged, and their average age is only 46 years. So that gives us a total addressable market of $1.2 billion. To address this and scale up our business model, we're going to address three main factors. One is the accessibility. We're down to 150 doctors, and our first milestone is to reach 2,500 orthopedic surgeons. Second is the affordability. So we have a unique EMI-based payment options, and to also maximize the reimbursements. The third is the awareness, which should be patient-driven, so the patient can come forward. And to achieve this, we've created an ecosystem within our organization where a professionally led leadership team has the access to untapped, expertise available through medical communication, IPR, clinical research, sales, marketing, and business development, present across 35 cities. Having competitive advantage globally, our product does have superior aspects. One, it's patented. Second, it has more reproducible. Third, there is the cost advantage. So today, if you go to Apollo hospitals and ask for a treatment, it'll cost you $5,000 only versus $15,000 only for the product in the US, saving $1.5 billion in annual healthcare costs. So having invested $15 million in the last 8 years, we're looking to take a capital of $10 million to fuel the R&D pipeline and increase manufacturing capacity. Just to summarize, Regrow helps regrow yourselves and rebuild your life. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Satyam. Questions?
You said you did a clinical study.
Yes.
What is the gold standard? Gold standard is a joint replacement. Do you have a study comparing your product versus the gold standard? And are there any economic benefits over the next 5 years, for example, the need for redo surgery with your product versus the gold standard?
Okay. So one thing is that it can't be placebo-driven because it's unethical, because ours is a two-step procedure, whereas knee replacement is a one-step procedure. So we had plenty of meetings with the Indian FDA, and it's not possible. Globally, also in the US, it's not possible. Second, coming to this data that I mentioned about 600, the patient follow-up is 8 years with a 92% success ratio. And since this is a cell-based driven procedure, there's no requirement of a revision surgery, as is the case with 20% revision surgeries in knee implants.
What does the competitive landscape look like, and what specifically do your patents cover?
Okay, so the patent covers the process, and the media, the cell culture media that we use is proprietary and trade secret through the US. Coming to the competitive landscape, there are two similar nature products in the cartilage space, which are there in the US. And there is one in the phase 3 clinical trials for the bone related therapy, which is in the Europe. So it's not yet in the market. We've entered the market first.
Is this a platform technology, and you've chosen to start with orthopedics, or?
So we started with, it's a platform technology for autologous. We started with orthopedics because there was a lot of cutting and stitching, and there's no painkiller, there is no pill or a capsule that you can actually use to take away the pain, because cartilage and bone, they need to be repaired. You have to undergo some kind of surgical intervention. And the third is we're already developing another product in the urology space, which is a rare disease for urethral stricture in male, which we're trying to look at, which is in phase 2 clinical trials right now.
In the clinical trial, whether you use only soft endpoints like pain, or you use hard endpoints like the growth of cartilage on MRI?
Okay, good question. So we use safety and efficacy, both parameters. In efficacy, we have patient scoring index, pain. There are the knee scores. I don't know if you're familiar, IKDC. And obviously there's MRI, there's T2 mapping in the MRI as well. And if patients elect, they can come and do a relook arthroscopy, which is a keyhole surgery, and check if the cartilage has grown. So we had all these data endpoints in the study.
How much doctor training is required in this?
So since we are up against the 4 big giants, it's very difficult to break into the doctor end. However, we have 150 orthopedic surgeons in India already using this product. So over these years, 150 doctors have adopted this technology, and we're looking at a first milestone of 2,500 doctors, mainly who are trained for this kind of therapeutic offerings. So these are the select prime doctors.
All right, thank you.
Thank you, thanks.
All All right, now we're going to give our judges just a few minutes to confer so that they can decide who is going to be the winner and the runner-up for this section. We will announce the winner and the runner-up here, and the finalists will go on to compete in the finals and be able to compete to be a grand champion that will be announced in the closing plenary. We'll be here for just a few minutes, but I encourage all of you to go on and explore the other resources that you can find at gistnetwork.org or gist.org. In fact, Loretta, who is one of our fantastic judges who's been asking so many wonderful questions, she's on the MentorMatch portal. You too could reach out to Loretta to be able to try to find out more information and mentorship questions to be able to guide your business to more success. I also see a couple of familiar faces out here in the crowd who are previous Tech Guy winners, which is another pitch competition that we provide. I encourage you to go out and find Layla and Mahar. They're fantastic people. We've launched our next round for Tech Eye at justnetwork.org, and we would love for you to come and join us at the Global Entrepreneurship Congress and have another opportunity to raise and elevate your pitch on a stage much like this around the world and with global investors. Thank you, and we'll be back in just a moment. I'll keep the louder one.
Yep. You have the perfect announcing voice. You have the perfect announcing voice. The informational announcing voice. This is what you need to do. Absolutely. Yeah.